Good evening. It's the evening before the craft fair at El Dorado. It's a really busy time, so let's get into a little bit of surrender practice so that we can get really clear and really calm before this first kind of wave of the holiday season. The first time I heard of surrender was during a Vedic astrology reading some years ago. And the astrologer told me, among other things, that I have a real gift for surrender. I was very confused because to me, surrender meant giving up, and I was not the kind of person who gave up. I think that she tried to explain to me that surrender was a path to letting the divine work in my life. And even now, I think I can't really improve upon that particular definition. I could see the peak of what it would mean to really, be so free that I could allow God to work in my life. And she didn't offer any steps to that. And I didn't even know to ask for them. So that's one thing that we've been talking about a lot in our classes is asking for help from our Ishtadevi or Deva, asking for help from the lineage, asking for help from, our living teacher, Babaji, and also from all the acharyas. So I eventually asked that question, what is surrender really about? And I've practiced for over a decade, nearly 15 years of Shambhavananda yoga. And I would say I have a better understanding of surrender, though it's still evolving. It sometimes helps me to understand what it isn't. And it really isn't the kind of new agey way of thinking about, well, if you let go of this thing, then you'll be available to accept this other better thing. Well, that's a little too transactional to be spiritual. And it's not abdicating responsibility for my life and for what happens in my life. In the spiritual journey, Swami Kripananda explains Rudi's teachings on surrender, and I want to read the quote from that book. Ultimately, what you let go of is the ego, the identity, and the world you've created, so you can experience the next level of consciousness. Babaji's teaching adds to this. In spiritual work, surrender is the ability to rise above one's emotions and tensions and experience a state of pure openness and pure consciousness. From that inner surrender, your true nature will begin to reveal itself. That goes back to the astrologers letting the divine work in your life. I see the connection to that. I get tastes of this kind of openness and freedom usually more often on the cushion than in intense live experiences. I often lose my balance in those, but I keep practicing because I can feel that through practicing, I'm taking more steps toward being able to experience that kind of openness and freedom in a more regular way in my life. And to me, that's extremely motivating. Recently I dreamed I was walking at the lake near my home, which is something that I often do. There were, 25 or 30 dolphins leaping and playing in the lake. And I was just amazed at this vision of, these dolphins being totally at home in the lake. I was wondering how they got there, but I was more interested in just watching them. And then, of course, my rational mind interrupted, even in my dream, to say, wait a minute, dolphins don't live in lakes. Well, that's true. There is a species of dolphin that I looked it up. There's a species of dolphin that lives in ditches, and they are related to the cetacea, the genus of whales and dolphins. Slightly different, but this was a lake, and they don't usually live in fresh water. And I kind of feel like that's related to surrender when I started kind of thinking about why I had this dream, other than it being really delightful, was that surrender is also like kind of a foreign state in this world of samsara, this dualistic world where, we're constantly seeking pleasure and trying to avoid pain and all the other dualisms that happen. So surrender asks us to separate from these dualistic cycles. And one of Babaji's teachings that always goes straight to my heart, he often exhorts us to live more simply so that we are less available to, be part of that cycle. So let's begin to practice by finding a nice tall seat, whether you're sitting in a chair as I am or sitting on the cushion. Really important to let your instrument really tune and be open and receptive to breath and whatever else may arise. You're welcome to keep the eyes softly open or to close them. And just begin to breathe naturally. Letting go of the week on this Friday evening. Breathing really lightly and naturally, taking a few inhales that are longer than the exhales. And riding that line between making a really big effort to kind of clear those pathways and to staying relaxed. Just let the inhale be a beat or two longer than the exhales. And then equalize the breath, making the inhales and exhales roughly the same length. Again, with that, really just letting the breath be whatever it is in this moment, it's perfect. It's really the quality of your awareness that is most important. That relaxed quality, that letting go, that surrendering of tension, of trying to get somewhere, of thought. That is surrender practice. That's my understanding of it. And then to really give yourself a little bit more of a flavor of relaxation, you're going to reverse and have a little bit longer exhale and a shorter inhale. It has the same effect on your system as taking a series of sighs. The good neurotransmitters flow more easily in that more relaxed state. And then back to just that equalizing of breath centered in the heart. So over the course of the meditation, the next 7 minutes or so, you're going to try to expand the heart. With the inhale, and then even with the exhale, even as you're letting the breath go, you're still really working to keep that expansion and that sense of openness and relaxed awareness. Always favoring that conscious awareness, the awareness of the breath, over the awareness of what is going on in your mind. You're practicing surrendering what's going on in your mind in favor of becoming more and more open, and more clear that in Babaji's words, the truth of who we are and what we are lies beyond the chatter and the noise of our minds. When we move beyond the chatter, we will find clarity and a real sense of being present. Expanding the heart from within, letting the breath press against the walls that we may have constructed around our heart, our spiritual heart. And even on the exhales, maintaining as well as you're currently able that sense of openness, peace, clarity, relaxed awareness. that sense of all the tensions, the ones that may have be cluttering up your life from today, from a decade ago, from past lives. You're really moving them out. So that you feel lighter. And may experience more light within yourself, the big self, not the small self. More words of wisdom from Babaji that I relate to surrender, to the process of surrender. Quiet your mind and be as deeply open as you can be. Then you might get an answer without asking a question. And in my experience, the few times that I've had the experience of getting an answer without asking a question, my small mind is barely aware of the incredible wisdom that is arising. But I can still feel the effects, kind of like putting some medicine on my tongue and letting it dissolve and gradually heal me. You're welcome to continue practicing surrender in your way for as long as you wish. Namaste.